Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bouk and Zoobie show on the world famous LIR.com, 927 LIR.com, and YouTube. I am John Kalaboukas, the Bouk, with my friend Paul Zubulake, Zuby. So you would think springtime would bring the flowers coming out, baseball, talking about winter sports, but somehow on this show, it always comes back to the New York Jets. What a great. And by the way, before I let you speak, I want to know what is this nonsense about the tampering period? Why don't you just say free agent is time is open, start negotiate? What is this nonsense? This is such not. So we're going to say we're tampering, but all of a sudden, you don't think that there's tampering going on before all this? These deals getting signed in what, half an hour, 1 hour after the tampering periods? I mean, this is the biggest BS I have ever seen of
I
any
know.
league.
John, we've actually talked about this probably every year when this season comes around because being Jet fans, and I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are Jet fans, you're in a different world because all the action takes place in the off season. The season, it's all you're doing is thinking about what's going to happen next year. So the 2026 Jets that will be coming up in the fall are going to be led, it looks like, and it's we're talking, right? We're filming this on the 10th of March. So we got lucky again, and the news
Again.
dropped that the Jets have traded for the immortal Geno Smith trade and along with a seventh round pick and a sixth round pick goes back to the Raiders and a restructured contract where obviously because Gino signed a huge contract for the Raiders and really had a bad year on a bad team with bad coaching. John, this fits so perfectly into what we talked about the last time we were on is
Yeah.
that you cannot convince me otherwise. This is just completely heading towards a 2027 pick, high draft pick, probably in the, I mean, I would say almost definitely in the top five, likely even higher, because I don't think there's any doubt about it. And if you look at the moves that the Jets have made so far in this free agency market, it's just setting up for that. It is confusing. We'll get to all the guys that they're bringing in, because some are like long term, some are extremely short term, and it's hard to get a feel. So I don't want to get too crazy because it is a combination of free agency. There's still many guys out there, so it's obviously not even close to being over. And the draft, which of course we'll talk about in early mid April. So yeah, I mean, it's really, John. This is just all. It's just pointing towards a bad season
Yeah.
with a lot of losses and a complete, breakdown and a flushing out of the head coach and his staff again. And then maybe the GM sticks around. It's TBD based on his draft that's coming up because how can they win games? And we talked about it going 6-11, 7-10. What does that do for you? And now you're with an aging quarterback. What does that do for you? So, I mean, even if he plays well enough to win 6 or 7 games, is that something to build on? Anyway, what's your thoughts? I mean, I'm like, I'm just, it's a, to me, it's just another nightmare. I just can't take it any. It's
Yeah,
hard to take.
I mean, I actually thought immediate when I heard about the Geno Smith, I immediately thought about you and you saying 2027 because that's where my thoughts went exactly that direction. They and I and even my wife was saying to me when I told her, she goes, "Isn't that?" She goes, "I know that name." I said, "Yeah, yeah. He was with us a long time ago." Because why would they bring in this old guy now? And then I said to her, 2027, that's where they're going. That's
Yeah,
where they're going to get their quarterback. So,
they're going. It seems
and of
right.
course, she made the comment. I mean, it's so funny to hear an unbiased, unfiltered opinion. She goes, "Oh, that means they're going to have a really bad season again." I said, "Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen." And I agree with you. I mean, the fact that some of these signings are very weird because they're bringing back a 37-year-old. They're bringing back a 33-year-old. Even Brees Hall is saying, "Wow, they're giving out all this money. What about me? I mean, what about him?
Well, we'll
What
get
are
to
they?"
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll get to him because another thing again we talk about because we like to think that we're ahead of the curve on our show when we talk about our Jets coverage. I have not listened to anybody talk about
not
Geno
me
Smith
either.
yet because I didn't want to listen. I'm like, these are my own opinions. I actually was ready to come on the show this week, John, and say that I actually think Muji is now leaning to trading a draft pick for like one of these young backups. Tyler Badgett from the Bears, the kid McKee from the Eagles, Davis Mills from Houston, and then Jared Stidham from Denver. Like those are the four guys, and I was like, okay, I think Muji's going in that direction. The problem is like how high of a draft pick do you have to give up for somebody like that? Because they're all really much unproven. Mills is kind of proven. I thought that's why I was ready to come on and say that because I just thought the idea of like our old buddy, Carson Wentz was mentioned and is still being mentioned. And then Gino, he just had a bad season on a bad team. And again, he had bad coaching, but he's 35 years old. What are you building for? What are you building? So that is like shocking to me. But I was perplexed on the Demario Davis signing.
That's
It's
here's the
30
37.
37 third time with the franchise, and
Yeah,
all of his best years were with another team,
yeah.
and it's going to happen probably again. Now, I'm not knocking the guy. The guy's been a good player. He was a good player for the Jets the second time through, and they did let him go. What else is new? He goes on as obviously some really good seasons with New Orleans. Last year he played a lot, John. He played,
Yes, he
and
did.
but it just shows that between that move and the Minka Fitzpatrick move, which is another one that's hard to argue that one because they
Yeah,
gave up basically next to nothing,
yeah.
and
That
they
wasn't
bring in a
bad.
guy that at least knows how to line up his guys in the secondary. And that's the thing with Davis. It gives Glenn somebody on the field who, honestly, John, he's got like a high football IQ. Like the Jets may have been the dumbest team that I've ever seen on defense last year. They were and when I'm saying dumb, I'm talking about like a lot of its inexperience as well, right? There
Mhm.
was just a vacuum on that team, right? Yeah, let's face it. And I get that part of it, but what does that do? What does that do? You're gonna bring these, and they gave Davis 22 million in
I know, I
guarantees.
know, I know.
So they gave him real money where he's definitely starting. Sherwood is going to be next to him. And then, the other, we'll get right to the other guys. And you mentioned a 33-year-old, Anyamata, I think is how you pronounce it, the
Mhm.
D tackle from Atlanta. He's 33. They gave him 10 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's just another one of these one year to year type of signings where he'll be somewhere else next year. Guarantee he'll be another free agent signing for some other team next year. Like you just like it's like a transient thing. So I don't like I just don't get that with the older guys that they signed.
I think maybe in the draft they're probably gonna get players in those same positions while the old guys maybe they're teaching them or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
I
yeah,
I mean, did they say that they were going to get? Have they announced that they're releasing Fields yet? I haven't
no,
heard anything.
that is coming. Yeah, it's because I think it's a lot of it's timing and the cap hit on when they do it, pre June 1, post June 1. It's a fait accompli with him. like I said, Davis obviously brings in a guy who, can line up the players right when they're and adjust to what the offense is doing right on the field. And then obviously having experience up front helps. And then Fitzpatrick in defensive backfield obviously helps there too. So I get that in one way, but at the same time, it's just what is the long term? It's just a year. It's another year of a modge podge, whatever you want to call it, of a roster, and it seems inevitable, John, inevitable that it's just going to lead to a bad season. So I want to say this first of all. This is the way I'm feeling about next season. Opening day, irregardless of who they play, I am obviously going to sit down in front of my couch and watch the game and hope the Jets win and root for the Jets. But if they're in a situation, John, if they just say they go 0-3, let's just we're going to do a little hypothetical on Bouk and Zoobie. They're 0-3. You cannot sell me on anything else but a complete, utter, winless, 1-win, 2-win season. It is ridiculous to have to sit through if they win 6 or 7 games and are picking between 8th and 10th
Oh God.
in absolute no man's land in 27, despite the fact that they have 3 number ones. And again, it's just like this year where the offs, there's so many quarterbacks, and then it ends up being one guy that's going to get taken in the top 10. And the Jets were trying to tank last year, folks. They didn't think that Dante Moore would basically crap the bed. They honestly really thought, like, if they got into the top 2, top 3, that they had a shot for Mendoza or Moore. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, Moore, basically chokes, forces himself to take another year.
Yeah.
And then now they have nowhere to go, and that's okay. But let's face it, when we're at that point next year, I don't want to hear anybody talk about it, and I don't want to. I'm sorry. It's if they start off bad, that's it. Case closed. That's the only way they're getting out of this. I'm sorry. It's the only way.
And the funny thing is, uh, what was annoying me, former Jets, you see their names, like Franklin Myers signing. I
Well,
got,
we'll
I
get to the
got,
league, John. That's crazy what's
I
going on.
mean, I mean, some of these signing, but to see a guy like Franklin Myers, who we knew was a good player, and why in God's name did they let that guy go?
For a
It's
sixth
incre-
rounder, John.
it's
That was
incredible.
uh,
Did you see the contract he ended up getting just
John,
now?
that talk about going the opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, I'm like, there's a few contracts that have absolutely floored me, and that's one of them. And Franklin Myers had a good season with Denver. He's a good player, but this is what now their teams are falling into the trap. It's like now you're overpaying for a guy. Like he's great on the underpay and give a 6th round pick for. That's like fantastic. But once you set the expectations high and actually give them a lot of money, you're gonna be disappointed. Right? So yeah, no, we'll get around the league because I still want to get to the rest of the guys that the Jets brought in, and I think one that and I have not heard anybody mention this, and again I haven't listened to a lot,
Oh,
but
I know what you're gonna say.
you know what? So I'm talking about Joseph Asai. That's who I'm bringing up. That's who I'm
I
bringing up.
know. I was thinking
No,
about
who are you
Nick
thinking of?
Folk, but no,
Oh yeah,
the
no, we'll
side.
get to Nick. Well, we'll get to that. No, the guy one of the players they brought in, John Joseph Aside. Now, I think we just had started Bouk and Zuby when this was going on. Do you remember what he's known for, Joseph Aside? Do you remember?
I forgot.
Okay, so Joseph Aside played for the Bengals, and his in his rookie season, it was the year after the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, and they were back in the championship game against Kansas City. And there was a play at the end of the game where I think it was Mahomes, was scrambling, and there was a late hit on the play.
Yeah,
And it was a guy who made the play, was the guy who got the penalty, was Joseph Osai.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Now,
I remember
he,
him.
he played a great game in that game. And he was a rookie, and it always stood out to me when that happened because I just felt so bad for the kid because it wasn't like he just was hustling and hustling. And the way Mahomes, right, the way he can kind of delay and get you
Yeah.
to think he's still running up the field. And I'm like, it will be interesting to hear, like not hear, see how he does in the rest of his NFL career. And complete anonymity for Joseph Asai, the last 2 seasons with Cincinnati, he had 5 sacks, I think, in the last 2 seasons. So he's a solid player. But he is known for this one play that I haven't heard anybody mention, which I think is actually kind of funny.
Yeah, I remember that play because I was really upset for them.
Right. And so I'm not so that's another guy they brought in. And then they brought in another defensive end from Green Bay. I can't even, another, it's actually they got 3 guys with Nigerian descent, incredibly, in their free agency. So all it is makes it hard for us to pronounce their names. I think it's Penembrai or something. And he's another guy that, I think he was a 4th rounder. He's coming on, his second contract. And he's another rotational end and supposedly good against the run. So the Jets obviously, and we've talked about it zillions of times, is that they cannot stop the run. They have not been able to stop the run for a while now. So they obviously realize that. And, between another thing we haven't even talked about was the trade, right? When they
Yeah.
traded Johnson away, we obviously haven't spoken to our folks fans since then. They acquired Devontae Sweat, who's a complete run stuffing nose tackle.
Yep.
But now, between their actions in free agency, which are all defensive oriented at this point, and then the last guy they just recently signed, they signed Nashawn Wright, his name is. He's starting corner for the Bears, who actually had 5 interceptions. He had kind of like a breakout year. He was like a Dallas Cowboy draft pick and was kind of middling around. You look at his numbers, and he had a breakout season last year. The Bear fans seem to be mixed on him, losing him. They signed him a 1-year deal, like for $5 million. So they got him
Wow.
like a bargain basement price. So I don't know if there's off the field baggage with him, or
Yeah.
again, interceptions can be deceiving, and obviously the Jets, creating a miracle by not getting one as a team. Anybody who's got ball skills will help. So corner was a huge need in my book, so that helps. So I thought that was actually a good move. I like the Fitzpatrick move. The rotational lineman guys, Osai and the other guys, and like the age of the other, Onamata and then Davis being old, right? So it's just like it's a mishmash, right? There's no game changer. There's no franchise altering move here, right? This is just to fill a roster that was completely depleted. And now we're bringing in obviously more NFL quality players. So that's good. But of course, the other side of it is that they aren't game changers. There's none of them.
Yeah.
And that's on the defensive side of the ball. So, on the offense, I guess unless I'm missing something, I don't, besides losing their starting guard, and obviously Elijah Vera Tucker got a big deal with the Pats, which of course puts a lot of fear into Jet fans that he's finally going to remain healthy
No,
now, right?
please.
Because he
I mean, they
signed
gave
for
him a
maintenance.
massive contract too.
They gave him a big deal. But the
Whew.
problem is, John, the Jets have now made offensive guard a need. And because Simpson re-signed with the Ravens, and he actually
Yeah.
got a decent deal. Vera Tucker got a really good deal.
Actually,
And
yeah. 3 years, 30 million for Simpson, and 3 years, 42 million for Vera Tucker. Wow, that's
right,
huge.
and I think Vera Tucker's guarantees were in the high 20s. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure
Very
what
high.
Simpson got guaranteed. So, but the bottom line is, it's two potential starters are not there. So it's like creates a need at guard. They have yet to sign somebody. I mean, maybe, by the time people watch this, they may have. Hopefully they address it a little bit in free agency, because you don't want to rely on the draft where we're taking a guard in one of our top 4 picks.
Yeah, but
That's out there.
look at, I'm looking at Johnson and Franklin Myers actually went to Salah. To
Right,
Robert
yeah, of course.
Saleh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
we should
yeah,
mention the
yeah.
teams, right, that they're going to.
Yeah,
Right.
Titans. They went to the Titans.
Right. And then Brian and then to put a little Giant stuff, and we'll get to them too. Brian Dable, they
Yeah,
signed Robinson to another huge deal. It's just
yeah.
like, so, it's funny. A friend of the show mentioned that look out for a Titan Jet matchup early in the season. I don't know if it would be opening day because they may have to play within the division. But if they don't have to play within the division, look for the NFL, who always has a good sense of humor when it comes to the Jet scheduling, to actually have Robert Saleh maybe open, or at least maybe his home opener or something like that against the Jets.
It's not gonna matter. Who cares?
What do you mean regarding the Titans or the Jets?
Just with the Jets, what
You
difference
mean
does
you're
it
not
make?
looking forward to Geno Smith with those tight spirals? Come on. I mean,
No,
how
I'm
can it
waiting
not
for
work?
Geno Smith to get punched in the face for not paying a debt or something
Yeah, well,
again.
that line is going to come out. It's been used already on me today. Who's going to be the guy he's going to punch? I mean, there is, and I don't know, guys who have like jet shows online, right? They have to have some sort of positivity because they want people to still check out their content. I mean, we as people know who watch our stuff, is we do this for fun. It's not our living. We're not doing this for a living. We just want to get our opinions out, and we enjoy talking sports. And again, if you like the Jets and follow the Jets, and follow our show, I think you're probably still with us because you want to hear what we're going to say, because we've actually unfortunately been very accurate
Yes,
in
we
this
have.
situation. And I'm sorry, John, I cannot see any other way out of this in the short term. And I look around the league, and then maybe this could be a segue to around the league, is that who is with the Jets? Like, who is in that bottom of the bottom? And to me, there's another team that is absolutely put the flag out that they're going to be willing to tank, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. So our friend Mike LaFleur is now the head coach. They have announced that they're going with what's his name, Jacoby Brissett as the starter, John,
Yeah.
and they signed Gardner Minshew as the backup. I mean, if that isn't a flag on your season, are you kidding me? All right. So we got the Cardinals. So this is something I'm going to be watching as the season starts. Again, the Jets, I'm hoping they do well. I'm not going in there opening week hoping they lose. I'm not doing
Right.
that. But if
Yeah, no.
there's no hope early, I'm sorry. There's no argument. I don't want to hear it. So who else is in this pile of crap, we'll call it? Our old buddies, the Cleveland Browns, John. I mean, they're
Yeah.
always in it, right? I mean, they're in it. They've got maybe, Shadur Sanders may be their quarterback. So, another, a first time coach there. So, they're another one that, to me, is obviously is going to be joining us in the Tankathon next year. There's other teams like the Raiders. The Raiders have basically told you they're not in that, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to get their young quarterback. They signed a ton of guys. I know they traded Max Crosby, but they got 2 number ones. That's a great
Yeah,
move.
that was a great move.
And but they did spend a ton of money. They signed Tyler Linderbaum, the center, Johnny. I was like insane. He got like 61 million guaranteed or something
Yeah.
for a
Yeah, that was
center.
that was what, a 5-year deal.
Yeah, got a huge deal, right? Yeah, whatever the years are, it's always the guarantee is really what
Right,
matters. That's
right,
what
right.
matters. And I think it was 81 million, 61 guaranteed. So if he plays, I think maybe it was a 4-year deal. That's how much money. So and that's the Raiders coming off of a 3-win season with obviously a brand new quarterback. So they realize, well, we better get the offensive line together so we don't, get him to fail. So this is
Yeah,
what
well,
the Jets are going to be doing next year, John.
but did you
Setting up
see
for the
how much
quarterback.
did did you see how much Connor McGovern got from the Bills? They
He got a
re-signed
big deal to stay. Yeah.
4 years, 52 million. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, that's not the same guy that was on the Jets, by the
No,
way.
no,
This
I
is
know that.
another
Yeah,
Connor McGovern.
but
Yeah, that was he. John, there's been some crazy deals. The Alec Pierce with the Colts, John. The guy is a one-dimensional player. He's a great guy in the deep ball. He's never caught more than 50 balls in a season. They gave him 116 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I know the guarantee was huge. And then they were forced to trade Michael Pittman. They gave him away to the Steelers, who then extended him. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you're like the call. And again, this is the reason I'm talking about this is it's good news for the Jets because the Jets have their first round pick. And that's why I guess the Colts, right? Because Daniel Jones was asking for 50 million, so they slapped the transition tag on him because they know no one's going to give him that sort of
Nah.
money.
Yeah,
Coming
right.
off with Achilles, what is he smoking out there? So the Colts are, we're gonna be fun to watch. For the so yeah, 2000. I know it's so again, like we said on our last episode, right, John? In February, talking about the disaster coming up, and now it's March, and we're still going to probably be talking about the same thing. And again, this is not, oh, you're negative. It's like, no, I'm realistic. I've been waiting 55 years. What's one more year? You
What's
can't
another
sell
year?
me on Geno Smith. Right, John, as the old saying goes, right? If Geno Smith is the answer, what is the question? So that's where we sit with the 2026 Jets on March
But
10th.
I, but the one that I was kind of upset about is when Nick Folk got signed by the Falcons. I mean, what are we going to do for a kicker now?
Yeah, well, they're in the market,
They gave him a
and
2 year. They gave him a 2 year deal.
he had a
Two
great
years.
season.
Yes, he did.
And
Yes, he
of course, John, what did Nick Folk do to the Falcons last year on a rainy day in a meaningless game? Decides to kick the game-winning field goal from 55 yards. And of course, what did that do? That got the Falcons to fire their coach because if you can't beat the Jets, that team, if you lost to the Jets last year, I guess you deserve to be fired. Um, so yeah, that is it's crazy, John. But he's that old, and hopefully they found the punter. Maybe they can find a kicker. They've got some extra compensatory picks. Maybe they draft a guy. But you're right. Ultimately, they're still they're back in looking for a kicker, looking for a quarterback. I guess I'm going to ask you this question: does this, because we have been on the show talking about the Jets taking a quarterback next in this draft. I would have to think this increases the percentage chances they're taking a quarterback within those first four picks. What do you think?
You're
Or
saying
no?
for 2027.
I'm saying for 2026. Like, do you think that they are literally going to roll out Geno Smith, Carson Wentz potentially as the backup, and like Brady Cook is the third? You don't think they'll draft a kid to kind of like give some hope there? Nah, what do you think?
Not in the first 4 picks for 2026.
Yes. No. You say because they got two in the first, two in the second. So you
Right?
think they will not take a
No,
quarterback in those
no,
picks? Okay. I
no.
actually think they're going to now because I cannot believe that
You
they
think
are
they're going to
going
go
to.
for? You don't think that they'll? You think that they're going to go for a guy like say Ty Simpson in
Yeah,
the first
possibly.
round?
Maybe 33 for Simpson. I don't know about 16. That's what will be fun. We'll talk to Alex about it. I'm throwing it out there, John.
Second. Uh,
Or the second rounder, 33 or 44, where I told you I wanted them to take a quarterback before free agency because there'll be no
mm,
pressure on the kid who's picked in 44th because they got three guys ahead of him. That was my mindset. Then I started to shift, and I'm like, maybe they're going to trade for a young backup. But bringing in Geno Smith, and that's the answer, and that's what you're doing, that seems like almost it's
I think.
worse
I
than the
think.
Justin Fields move.
Yeah, I think. You know, probably with the 44th pick, they would probably go for a quarterback.
All right. So we'll see what Alex, our buddy Alex, our draft guru, right? We'll see what he thinks. He will be on, right, obviously before the draft. Just
Hmm.
so everybody knows, we are going to have another show next week. The YouTube algorithm hopefully will be happy. We're going to have our good buddy Gamal Smith on to talk college hoops and probably a little NBA. and maybe we'll get a little NFL. We're always going to have NFL, John. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And as always, I want to thank everybody for checking out our content on youtube.com, spotify.com. As John mentions in the early part of the show, right? The intros, the world famous LIR.com, 927LIR.com. Always happy to be on their platform, the internet radio, spinning the tunes. So that's what's coming up. We'll have March Madness next week. We'll have a draft show. John, are you good? I don't know. We'll do, because technically, when is MLB start? Are we going to be able to shoehorn? Maybe we could shoehorn another pre
March
baseball
25th.
25th. Is that like the Asian in Japan, or is that
No,
literally
that's the Yankees versus San Francisco Giants. They have the first game.
on March
And,
25th?
and the Mets have March 26th
So
as their
we,
first game.
all right. So we potentially could do a show right before the baseball season starts, because we got to do our under overs, which I did actually take a look. We'll save it for later. What the Mets number was. Let's see. I don't know if you haven't seen it. I'm guessing,
No,
right?
I have not.
All right. So I'm going to let you guess. Do you think what you would put the number, and then we're not going to make predictions yet. Anyway, so yeah, just I think the whole thing with the NFL is just money, money, money. If you look around the league, certain teams are just going a little crazy, and then you got teams who are doing nothing, including the Philadelphia Eagles. So
Yeah.
literally doing nothing. And that's who they lost. Phillips, who they acquired, the defensive lineman from the Dolphins. He got the Panthers, John. I mean, so
Yeah.
a guy who's had some injury issues. I mean, again, breaking the bank. And it's just like, wow. I mean, it's like they're giving money out to guys that are just, I'm sorry. I don't think, I don't want to say any of these players aren't top players. But I mean, they're not superstars. I just don't see it. So Franklin Myers, right? Alec
Yeah.
Pierce, Super Bowl MVP, right? Kenneth Walker signs with the Chiefs. So that's pretty interesting, like where they're headed. And of course, I guess we have to mention Travis Kelce
Oh God.
back for another season. And allegedly his fiance probably said, keep on playing. It's good for our brand. So he's back. I mean, he's still pretty damn good, John. So any other, the Giants, I guess we should mention, right? They decided to go pay a punter a hell of a lot of money. Now, their punting game was weak. They also still need a kicker. So John Harbaugh made some moves. I guess Okereke they got rid of, right? So they're bringing in Terrell Edmonds, who was with Buffalo and then went to Chicago. Again, he's a good player. I don't know if that's a huge upgrade over Okereke. I'm just like, it's off the top of my head. I guess they re-signed one of their offensive tackle, Elam Allure. They brought him back. And they lost their corner, Cordell Flott, who I guess, maybe on our football preview, we'll talk to Lieutenant Dan. Hopefully we'll be back on and see what he thought about that. He actually got some good money.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, but Paul, I want to, like I said in the beginning of the intro, what is your thought about this so-called tampering period before free agency? I don't understand the concept. I mean, am I missing something here? Tampering, but signing a guy within 30 minutes to an hour of this so-called tampering period. You're telling me that they didn't have conversation, and they're saying that the player can't speak to the teams until
Right.
tomorrow.
But the agents are. The agents are.
Right.
John,
But why bother? I just don't understand. Just say, okay, free agency, it's open. No, we got to go through the motions of a tampering period, and then the players can't speak, and then you wait until Wednesday at what, 4 o'clock tomorrow at 4.
Right.
I mean, am I correct in the way I stated that? Is that the way it is? I mean, am I missing something?
No, that's the way it is. They just, the NFL, John, could literally do anything and they're bulletproof, right? So their argument was that there was tampering anyway, but like you said, there's still tampering no matter whatever day they put this is when it starts. Ultimately, there's going to be tampering before it. Because like you said, you could how do you get into major details of a
Right,
contract without speaking prior to that? So
right.
the players can't talk. So John, I think you just got to let it go. It's like one of those things.
It
It's not a
annoys
big
me
deal.
so. It
It just
annoys
annoys
me
you.
so much because
Well,
you're making up this fictitious tampering period to say, okay, yeah, tamper. So we look clean that you haven't spoken to anyone. Give me a break. Oh yeah, yeah.
and
I
also
guess
just quickly, the Giants brought in Greg Newsome, a corner who bounced around a little bit last year, was on a bunch of teams, got traded as ex number one pick. That's again, it's a huge need for the Giants. They'll probably be probably more coming in on that second tier, right? Because as John said, we're only at Tuesday. And I mean, but the majority of the big names are really off the board. There's still talent out there, no question. We're not going to like go through who hasn't signed because maybe he signed in the last 10 minutes or like the time people are checking out the content, everybody signed. So
yeah,
we'll definitely talk NFL next week with Gamal if something big happens, right? We're not going to go
right.
into like too much detail on minor moves. And then, again, obviously continuing to talk about the NFL and the Jets going into the draft. And then obviously we'll probably, not talk about them for a while for our own sanity's sake and enjoy the summer.
Well, what about all the quarterbacks that are moving around here? So Tua
Yep,
gone from Miami.
correct.
Um,
Oh, Malik
Murray,
Willis
yeah, Malik Willis, yeah,
signed with the Dolphins, 45 million guaranteed. Obviously, the Jets were kind of maybe in that discussion. I thought he was going to get closer to 60 million guaranteed. So actually, I think and it's like because I don't know if you know, the new GM of the Dolphins was like the assistant GM with Green Bay,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
coach was an assistant Hadley with I think it's Hadley, who the Jets also interviewed, by the way. So it will be interesting. So they know him very well. So that's good for Malik Willis. I think it's a decent move for the Dolphins. But they're kind of just
They,
also,
they took a major
let's
hit.
face it. hmm,
They took a major financial hit on that deal.
Oh, the Tua thing, the dead money stuff is
Oh,
crazy. I mean, it's just it was
what was it,
99 million,
99 million?
a new record in dead money. But still, they can go out and sign a quarterback and give him 45 million guaranteed. I mean, the cap is always it's such a flimsy cap, right? It comes back to bite you eventually, but it seems like these GMs always can wiggle their way out of stuff. Now I know the Eagles are, not signing anybody this year is showing that like, okay, their wiggle room's gone, but they won a Super Bowl, right? So that's what this is all about. And again, the Jets quickly 3 to 5 year rebuild, folks. This is year two. It's not the year to spend on free agents. It really isn't. They
No,
just they don't even have a roster of NFL talent. That's why they're signing guys. But they really, again, they haven't made any major long-term move that is like changing anybody's view on the roster and the franchise. Now, when they get through the draft, that's a different story. We're talking about four really good players that they take with those picks, not to mention their later round guys. God forbid if the Jets hit on a few of those. So they really could eventually, really give a foundation for year three is when they get the quarterback in the draft and then they're really hopefully competing. And then year 4 and 5, John, is when you make it happen. The problem is, right? Aaron Glenn is not going to survive because Woody won't let him. And that's why this franchise continues, right, to be in this muck.
uh,
Because what are they going to do? Are they going to get rid of Muji if Muji has like a good draft and they win 5 or 6 games? So are they going to fire Glenn? Then does Muji go? He stays. Then who's going to hire the new coach? Oh, Woody's going to hire the new coach.
oh
So then you're
God.
going to have this mismatch again, John. It's just nonstop. So you just hope that like Aaron Glenn can show enough next year and that the team is respectable and they look like they know what they're doing, but they just don't have enough talent and they can still pick in the top 5 and maybe they keep them for year 3.
I
So
don't know.
again, there's going to be so much to talk about. It really is. It's nonstop content. Let's face it.
I'm surprised that the Jets didn't wait. I mean, the fact that the Raiders were willing to give up a draft pick plus Geno and pay his entire salary this year just shows how they wanted to get rid of him. And the Jets, I'm surprised that they didn't wait for a guy like Murray. I would have taken a chance on Murray.
I don't think there was mute. I don't think Murray wants to come to the Jets, right? So I think and I can't blame him because you don't think the agents and the other players around the league are smelling what the Jets are doing? They're like, don't go there because they're going to draft a quarterback. And Geno's ancient, so it really doesn't matter. That's why
Right.
Cousins, to me, was the logical guy.
Cousins,
and again, that was not like Cousins obviously doesn't want to come to the Jets, but Geno's willing. Because who else is going to have Geno Smith start? What other NFL team? Zero.
It's true.
Nobody. How can you win without a quarterback in the NFL? You can't. All right, John. I'm sorry. I'm short shafting whatever the expression is. The Giants. We'll get more on them later because I do want to switch over because it's just we can go on forever about the Jets' ineptitude. Yeah. Let's again. I love to throw the jump ball at you. I gave you if you want to do college hoops quickly or go right to the Knicks. What do you want to do?
No, let's go college hoops quickly since.
All right, what do you got?
The end of the year rankings, good St. John's. I keep calling them Redmond. I called them Redmond today. I was in a meeting. Yeah, I was telling them, I'm an original Redmond. And he smiled. He goes, "You mean Red Storm?" Oh, yeah. Okay, Red Storm.
Gotcha.
Rank 13.
All right.
UConn 6th.
UConn 6th. They're a 2 seed. St. John's is going to be a 3 or a 4 seed, I guess. Hopefully they win the Big East tournament because you don't want to be a 4 seed, John. 4 seed, that means you're going to face the 1 seed most likely eventually. So you want to be in that 2-3 seed where you get you play it. And again, I'm looking forward to the final Sweet 16 and the final 8 and things like that. But the point is, if I had my choice for the Johnnies is not to be in that 4 hole. If they don't win the Big East tournament, they probably will be there because, again, I keep on harping on, in my view, kind of the weakness of the conference. But I would think round 3 is coming, right, John? You think it's coming?
Yeah.
Round 3. And we got to briefly talk about Danny Hurley, right? I mean, a complete – John, I'm sorry. Because Connecticut is part of the tri-state, maybe not where – Storrs, Connecticut is. I don't think they even reach New York radio, so who knows? But it's on the internet, or on YouTube, so folks can watch us. Can we just this guy, John? I said it last year. He is the ultimate front runner. That guy. He's friendly and he'll talk and he'll yuck it up when he's winning games and winning championships. The minute he loses, his petulant, childlike behavior pops out, right? Isn't it incredible? That was pretty embarrassing. That outburst.
And to bump the referee purposely too.
Well, but the funny thing is, John, he claims calls him John. He goes, well, if John said I bumped him, I bumped him. So in other words, he's like, oh, I didn't. So you came this close and didn't bump him. You think that makes a difference, Danny? that much? Who cares, right, John?
I am praying.
Didn't make contact. I mean, give me a break.
I am praying that we are going to the final of the Big East tournament. I am praying that we are facing UConn in that game. I am praying.
Yeah, no, it's
because we will defeat them this time around.
Well, I'll tell you, they better. After that night, it's crazy. It's got to be round 3, folks. It's got to happen. Can they get either one of them get tripped up? I don't think St. John's is getting tripped up before the finals. Connecticut, maybe. They've been a little sloppy lately.
Villanova, Seton Hall.
Yeah. It's possible.
These teams gave them a hard time. And Seton Hall will probably face the St. John's in the second quarterfinals. Semifinal.
Semis, yeah.
Yeah. They're a good, they're not a bad team. I mean,
No,
they
they're
have an
close.
excellent coach. The
He's excellent.
guy has them playing hard. It's too bad that they've lost so many close games this year, Seton Hall.
Yeah.
They really should be in the tournament.
Well, they're on the
overall
bubble.
tournament.
They need to win. They obviously need to get to the semis, and I'm not going to say they need to beat St. John's, but they got to be close, right? They got to be. It's got to be a close game. But John, the bubble is very weak this year, and so get ready for some kind of teams that you don't want to get in the tournament get in. And they talk about expanding the tournament again. That's just so idiotic.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's too many teams. Even 68's too much. But it's all about the top teams. And I quickly want to I don't know if you saw it, Duke lost their point guard, Foster, for basically the season. They're claiming if he made the Final Four, he could come back. He fractured his foot. Big loss. There's been some major losses for top teams. And Michigan lost their backup point guard. We talked about it last week. Texas Tech and BYU lost guys, and then obviously North Carolina lost their guy Wilson. So there's some big names that have been hurt. We'll save it for next week. On the predictions on March Madness. This is it. It's March. We're going to shift full blown, right, John? For the next few weeks, It's purely college hoops. Little MLB. So you got anything else with college you want to mention?
Well, we got an email today, meaning this season ticket holders of St. John's,
Pep talk
about the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, here we go again.
They have very limited tickets, so you have to give your name in and select the venue that you're willing to go to.
Okay.
So there's nothing even close except Philadelphia.
Okay.
There's only, for the first and second rounds. The others were like Arizona, or they're all over the place. Tampa. The closest was Philadelphia. So I put in my name for the first two rounds of the NCAA. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Well, hey, that's where, March Madness is a great event. Looking forward to it as always. Like I said, we'll save our predictions for next week. All right, John. Knicks. This is the weirdest team, John.
Yes,
I think you've been watching. Did you watch the Clipper game? That would be a good test of your fandom. Did you watch that game?
I actually started and I fell asleep, and then I woke up when they got it down to like 5 points, and then I watched them crash after that.
Yeah. What are they so up and down? This is crazy. This is really.
The Laker game.
Just me. What's going on?
The Laker game was an embarrassment. It's almost like they went out the night before, had a great time, and didn't bother to show up for that game. They should have won that game easily. Easily, they should have won that game. And the funny thing is when they came back in that game, they got it down to like 10, and they had like 3 or 4 chances where the Lakers didn't score, but the Knicks didn't score. I mean, they're deep. When they play defense, it's the same old thing. That's what I keep saying. When they play defense, look what they did to San Antonio. Look what they did. They played Oklahoma City, which was not a good game for the Knicks, shooting-wise. They could have easily won that game. They only lost by 2. And then Denver, they destroyed Denver. They destroyed the Raptors. And solid defense. And then you see these 2 LA games where for Brown to actually yell at his team, because he was very, very angry after the Laker game. And I don't blame him, because he called it laziness. He called it, he used so many different words. I'm sure other words he used too. But the one thing I will say is there was a great article in The Athletic about what's the best positioning for the Knicks when it comes to the playoffs. So they gave them, being second, third, or fourth. And it turns out that the best place for the Knicks to be, the easiest route to get to the finals, is being in the 4th position. So right now, Cleveland is only half a game behind them.
Correct. Right.
The Celtics, Tatum's back. He actually looked pretty good. Uh, I mean, the East is going to be killer. Such evenly matched teams. There's not an easy team in that entire, uh, other than those playing teams.
Now you're
But
saying that because they would get the Raptors in the first round. Is if it
that's
ended
correct.
today? Is that
That's
what you're saying?
correct.
All
That's
right.
correct.
That's what it's based on.
It
Right.
would be
Okay.
Raptors, and then after that the Pistons,
Okay.
and the other teams would be knocking each other off. I mean,
Right. Okay.
who wants to play the 76ers? I don't want to play the 76ers. If they're healthy, I don't want any part of the 76ers. Um, I spoke about Orlando. Again, if they're healthy, that is a dangerous, dangerous team to play in the playoffs,
All right.
especially, when you're talking about the NBA. If someone has one injury and that's it, you could lose the series. So I'm kind of thinking let the Knicks go to fourth. I'll be fine with that.
All right.
Third, it is probably the most difficult one for them.
Because they'll play a tougher first round opponent, and then they get the Celtics probably in the
Yeah,
second round, which is
that's
going to be
correct.
really hard because
That's
Tatum's
correct.
back.
That's correct.
And that's all right. That logic makes sense. I think it definitely. I mean, that's a hit to the Raptors. Now the Raptors might not stay at 5. That's probably what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. It's very tight, right? It's pretty tight across the
It,
board,
it
isn't it?
it's tight,
Or-
but they have a couple of games up on everyone. So
Do they? All right.
and
And the
we don't
Heat
and
are
we don't have,
playing a little better too. The Heat is an interesting matchup, but you're not
the
going to
the
probably
Heat
have
are
Faze.
always a problem because of Spolstra. I mean, that guy could play Paul Zubulake at guard and get into the semifinals.
All right. So, all right, that's a good thought. Yeah. So, yeah, it has really been a mystery about the Knicks because it's just like I don't watch them obviously nearly as much as you do,
Ugh,
but they're
frustrating.
the pogo stick of what's been going on. And is it because they made too many changes?
I
I'm
no, I
not
just
sure.
don't. No, I just don't think. th- To me, they're waiting. It's almost like they're just saying, "Let's get the playoffs going, and then
Yeah.
we'll play." They,
John, it's a playoff sport. Let's face it. I mean, it really is. I mean, the NHL and the NBA, right? They're the same. It's just like get in. It's a second season.
right.
The home advantages don't mean a lot. So it's. I mean, the Knicks are definitely got a shot to get to the finals, and that's what they have to do first. So yeah, no, we'll
But the
obviously talk a
West
lot.
is even interesting too. I mean, the Spurs. You got to, that. I have to say, I don't know if you watched the Spurs against the Knicks game
A
at
little
all.
bit. I'd watch a little bit.
Okay, there was one play with Wembanyama where he actually dunked the ball. He was literally like feet away from. I mean, it wasn't like he was underneath. He extended his entire arm, and you know how long that arm is, and just brought it over like feet. It almost seemed like he was near the foul line. It was so ridiculous, and he
I
dunked the
know.
ball. He's just incredible. I mean, when you think about him and Doncic making these ridiculous shots with two players on him, and he's only 27 years old. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that trade needs to be investigated because Nico Harrison, who was good friends with Pelinka, going and making that trade, and then Dallas firing him. I'm telling you, that stinks to high hell, that trade.
Yeah, and then Anthony Davis got moved again, right? So yeah, that's bad. That was bad to get the Lakers. I know a lot of people think the NBA has been fixed forever and how things work in the NBA. I don't know. Looking forward to the playoffs. But quickly, John, I got to mention one thing about the NHL. The Buffalo Sabres, who are the Jets' companion of not making the playoffs for the longest time in major sports. Out of the 4 majors, they're tied. Now the Jets are technically ahead of them because their season ends before the NHL season. The Sabres, folks, are going to make the playoffs, and the Jets will now own the driest of dry streaks on their own, and they no longer have any company. as it's been 15 years going on 16, which is basically a virtual guarantee. And
That's
on that,
funny.
John, on that note, we're going to again, we only want to win championships on Bouk and Zoobie. And it is possible that the New York Metropolitans can do it. And I'm going to be optimistic. So I can't wait to get the update and maybe a little WBC with baseball with Bouk.
The one thing I like about the Mets is, and we spoke about it last week, is their starting pitching. I They look really, really good, really good. Um, all the trades they made, the fact that Sanga's throwing 98 miles an hour, wanted to stay with the team. Even Mania looked great, but Peralta, I was watching him pitch against the Yankees, and what I love about this guy, and I've been following him for so many years, is that he switched in the second inning because he got hit pretty hard in the first inning where he's mainly throwing his fastball. And then he started throwing his curveball and change in the second. I mean, the Yankees had no shot. I mean, beautiful, beautiful stuff. He's a likable guy. For people who don't know him, he's a good locker room guy. He reminds me a lot of, in a way, with personality, like Pedro Martinez, in a way, where he's
When he's
likes
not
to have.
beating up Don Zimmer, but that's a little, maybe we
Oh
can.
well, other than pushing a 75-year-old guy to the ground, right.
Yes. You like Peralta. Okay, that's good. That's
I
obviously good.
like him. McLean looks great. I mean, they have 6 decent starters if you want to include Holmes. Holmes actually looks good too. I think they're going to go with the 6-man rotation. The bullpen, there's a lot of guys vying for different spots there. We'll see what happens. I mean, they look good pitching wise. They look really, really good. Hitting, I want to know what they're thinking in right field. I'd really like to know what they're thinking because they're keeping Tachman around. They're keeping Melendez around. You got Taylor. You got Benj. I have a feeling they're going to send Benj down to AAA,
You do.
even though he's been playing pretty well. He has a nice bat. He makes contact.
What do you mean? Because of service time stuff? That the infamous service
Yeah,
time?
I have a feeling they're going to want him to, just to get more experience down there, a little bit more experience. I don't know. That's just my feeling. What I think they're
Right.
going to do.
Okay.
Everyone, again, they look okay. I'm just very unsure about first base with Polanco. I still don't think that that's the right move, and I have a feeling that he's going to have a big adjustment there. Big
Now,
adjustment.
so he's obviously playing first, correct?
Yes.
He is. And I mean, has he played enough innings? Is it like, can you?
No.
There's no way, right? So you
No.
can't say like he looks like a butcher over there, right? You can't.
No, but he doesn't look He doesn't look comfortable.
He's a right-handed thrower, obviously, because he was an
Right.
infielder, right? So
Right.
okay, which we always kind of like the lefty there, but I get it. It's hard to find good lefty first basemen. All right, and then Simeon, what's going on with him? I mean, again, it's freaking preseason,
I'm
spring training,
sorry.
I should say,
He does not look good at the
at the
hitting
plate.
at all. Yeah, at the
Okay.
bat, no. Mm-mm. Fielding wise, yeah, he can field, but his bat looks very slow to me. I might be wrong here, but
Yeah,
it just
it's
doesn't
spring
seem
training.
like he can't catch up. If you have a guy throwing 100 miles an hour, 98, 95, he's not catching up to it. He's not.
So okay, so where's Vientos playing in spring training? Is he playing? Like, is he playing? Is he just DHing? What does he do?
First base,
First.
DH, but
Okay.
he's on. He's in that world, the WBC
Oh, he's
playing.
okay. So right. So right. We should mention that. Now, are you watching any of the WBC?
The only game I'm going to watch because I have not watched not one game.
Okay.
Actually, two games I'll watch. I'll watch the Dominican Republic against the U.S., which would be an interesting game,
Sure.
or Dominican against Japan, or U.S. against Japan. So
Yeah, those three.
the rest of them, Puerto Rico's not going to do much this year because a lot of players decide not to play this year.
Right, they couldn't
But
get insurance.
I would like nothing better than to see that Dominican team lose. They are they are loaded. I mean, if you look at that lineup, I mean, it's star after star after star.
They're good.
But
Yeah, they're good.
but too much of the celebration, way overdone.
Well,
And I almost
well,
feel like that.
yeah.
I almost feel like they're gonna have some type of barbecue at home plates and drinks there while they're celebrating.
All right. Well, yeah, that is something to watch. I've watched I kind of like the U.S. team is getting a little too excited. I mean, it's not the Olympics. I'm sorry. It's not going to have the same impact. The U.S. baseball team winning the WBC. I don't know. I just don't see it's that big of a deal. I think and it's so because again, people should have remembered, right? How the last time they did the WBC 4 years ago is when the famous, our buddy Diaz decided to celebrate, jumping up and down, and he was out for the season. Now, of course,
Yeah.
now we don't care. I was laughing because I caught a little bit of the Puerto Rican game when he saved the game. And I'm like laughing to myself. I go, imagine, him getting hurt for the Dodgers. I mean, people forget that, but I mean, that happened. And God forbid, that's why kind of good, right? There's not really that many Mets are playing in this, right?
No.
Is McClain on the team? Is he on
McClain's
the team?
on the team.
He is, but has he pitched yet or no? Yes, I mean that's
yeah, he did. Couple of innings. Yeah.
Okay,
and
so he has.
Holmes did too.
Yeah, no, I saw when Holmes pitched. I was because that's when I wanted to see Screwball pitch. If I'm pronouncing his name, he gave up a home run the first freaking pitch. It was funny, but after that, he mowed him down.
He's a bulldog. That guy's a bulldog.
And they got Skeens too, right? And Webb. Yeah. So but I don't know. I can't put too much into it. So anyway, quickly back to the Mets, John. I told you I saw the under over. If you were working for one of the sports books, what would you put the Kalaboukas? Because I think you would probably be more accurate, to be honest with you. This is off the top of your head, even with that. What would you put the number? What do you think the number is? Or what would you put the number in? In other words, to even out the bets, right? That's the object. Pressure's on.
89.
90.5. All right, you're close.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. My friend did. I think I said 87.5. That's what I said. And I think he said 88, something like that, right? And I was like surprised, 90.5. I'm like, that's pretty hefty.
Yeah,
91 wins.
Yeah.
That's a playoff team, obviously, right?
Yeah. Right? 90.5, huh? Okay.
That's what it is today. Now anything can happen. We'll definitely save under overs for the, right before the season starts, because we always love to do that. I did not check the Yankees number out. I know if you got anything on the Yanks, I'm not, got a couple of Yankee fans. Maybe
you know what? The Yankees, as far as pitching, are in much, much better shape than last year. Much better shape. I mean,
now is Cole healthy? What's going on?
Yeah, he looks good. Yeah, Cole looks good.
Yil is healthy too.
He's good.
And what about the kid that came up last year, right? The kid who actually showed a lot. Well, I can't remember his name. The other Yankee star.
I forgot his name. It was like Schottler. I forgot his name.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
but their starting pitching is actually pretty good. Their starting pitching. Relievers, they have a lot of great arms, but some suspect guys that they're hoping are going to bounce back. I mean, like the guy Doval, it really should be a top-notch closer. I mean, he has such great stuff, but somehow he just can't put it together.
But he is the closer, though, correct?
No, Bednar. No. Bednar is.
Oh, Bednar. Right. Okay.
Yeah, which he looked like, the way he was in Pittsburgh when he was the closer. He looked tremendous last year. Now, can he continue? So, some ifs in the relief pitching, but starting pitching, they look really, really good. I mean, they're going to get major innings out of these guys. You know, Fried is, you know, that's the way he is. Cole's a workhorse. Yale is great. Even Weathers, I like Weathers, as even though the Mets hit him pretty hard. I like the way he throws that kid. If they can somehow harness his pitching, he could be a pretty good left-hander for them.
All right.
I like the way the hitting. You know, I don't know. The Yankees are just too top heavy. They're too top heavy. You know, once you get through Judge and a couple of the guys, they're not very strong. They're bottom hitters. The Mets are a little bit more balanced than they are. Actually, a lot more balanced than they are. They're just very top heavy as a team. And again, when you have Stanton, you know I
Still there?
I criticize him every year. The easiest guy in baseball to pitch to, but somehow someone's going to throw something stupid over the middle of the plate and let him hit it 500 feet.
All right. Well, all right. There's a little Yankee content. That's good. So, all right. So it could be again. We hope it's a good season for baseball. The New York, the tri-state area definitely deserves it. What do you got? More stuff.
So my prediction for the Yankees with
Okay.
wins. I don't know what the over/under is on any of this. I'm thinking with them about. See, the American League is so weak. I'm going to give them
check.
I'm going to give them 95 wins this year.
Okay. So okay. I'm gonna because people love this stuff on the Bouk and Zoobie show. It looks, believe it or not, it's 90.5.
The Yankees?
And then one other book has it 91.5. So we'll call it 91.5 to get them above.
Nah, they're definitely going to be above that. No
All
doubt.
right. Okay.
No
Well, we'll
doubt.
definitely do the official under-overs right before the season starts because people might want to throw a couple of bucks on that. Those are kind of fun bets to have. And it's obviously, it's a long-term bet because you got to wait all season for it. So anyway,
Well,
what else you got, John? Anything else?
a nice signing by the Phillies. Very
Right.
smart move. I'm telling you, Dave Dombrowski is really an underrated GM, even though he likes to spend a lot of money on free agents there. He made a great move today. He signed Luzardo, 5 years, 135 million. Didn't even let him he was eligible to be a free agent at the end of this year. And I said, oh, that would be a great guy for the Mets to go after.
Oh,
He
okay.
just wrapped him up. I mean, he got him at a pretty good deal too, 27 million a year. That's pretty good for Luzardo.
Yeah, they probably bought out a few of the free agent years, right, or the arbitration years where he's going to get screwed, right? So, all right, there you go. The Phillies, of course, the Braves. It's the same story. Baseball, John. I know I've said this 1,000 times. It's got a huge problem. There's 10 to 15 teams that are just like completely have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just don't like it for the sport. I mean, are there any, I guess we could save this maybe for we'll save it for baseball. Think of the new rules if there's anything new coming in, because still no automated strike zone, right? Aren't they kind of
No.
working on that in spring training? They refuse to do it. So I'm going to have to spend another year watching the box on TV and the umpire calling something 3 inches outside the box, a strike. I always love that. It just drives me crazy.
It's better than the Glavin Maddox days when he used to call it a foot outside a strike.
Yeah, right. So God forbid if they could get to that level. So so great. I mean, again, folks, thanks as always for checking out the show. Next week, Gamal is joining us for March Madness. Check it out, John. So anything else? Who do you got to thank otherwise?
Again, as always, thanks to our producer, Zach Zubulake, and to our loyal listeners and viewers. Again, we appreciate the feedback, the texts, the emails. Thank you very much for that. Also, thanks to our community partners, Ronald McDonald House, Kids in Seats, and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. We will see you next week.